Yeah, okay guys, sorry for the slight delay. I had some issues in recording this lecture. So, good evening everyone, good afternoon everyone. I am Arjun and I am the TA for this course, Research Methodology in Natural Sciences, and pleasure to welcome you back all for the TA session for week 3. And just to give a short introduction about myself, I am a second year PhD student at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and I've also provided my mail ID in this initial slide. Once again, I'll just open my pointer as well. Yeah. So I've also provided my email ID in this introductory slide of this TA session. So if you have any doubts outside of this TA session, feel free to ask me any doubts. Um, I would be able to clarify any doubts with respect to the contents of this course. With respect to exams or any other doubts, you can directly approach the NPTEL team as well. So for the past 2 weeks, okay, first of all, am I audible? And like, I would like to ask two questions. One is, am I audible? And other one is the screen visible? Yes, Gupta.
Arjun, you are audible. Mayuresh here.
Okay. Is my screen visible as well?
It is visible.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. So Gupta, actually, as per NPTEL rules, TAs are not supposed to share their contact numbers. We are only allowed to share our email ID. So that's just to protect, I don't know, some um, privacy of students. So if you have any doubts, you can contact us through the mail ID, or we have a Google Groups discussion forum. You can access that through the NPTEL website. So through that, you can ask any doubts.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, for the past 2 weeks, what we have been doing in this TA session is we would normally go through a recap of um, whatever content was taught to you people in the second session, and then after that we will have a short doubt session, and then after that we will be having a discussion of the assignment answers. And this week is going to be the same, so I'll be giving you guys a short recap of whatever happened in the week 3 lectures, and then we'll be having a doubt session for 5-10 minutes, and then we'll be having a discussion of the answers, following which at the end of the session we'll be having one more doubt session. Mayuresh Shetty is saying, I just want to know whether exam is descriptive of will it be MCQ like assignments. Um, Mayuresh, I highly doubt that the exam will be descriptive. So whatever type of questions you are getting in this assignments, you will be getting the same type of questions in the exam as well. So you'll be getting MCQ or multiple choice questions where you'll be having answering one answer, or you'll be having multiple select questions where two or more answers will be correct out of the answers provided. Okay. So if you have doubts, you can keep posting them as well. But there will be dedicated doubt sessions during this TA session as well. And in the rest of the time of the TA session, we'll be going over the contents of this course briefly. So I'll just get started with that as well, while you guys keeping while and one more thing is that while the recap session or the assignment discussion is going on, I request you all to not open your mic or your video as well. Like it might result in some problems for the other viewers as well who have a very poor bandwidth. So I request you not to open your mic unless asked by me to answer some questions, or if you have any doubts during the doubt session, you are free to open your mic. So I'll get started with week three's recap. So in week three's recap, a general overview is that like week three was entirely what we can say is that it's a history lesson of the advent of materialism, advent of idealism, and how the two ideologies fought over each other, and how the current scientific materialistic world came into place. So through week one's lectures, you would have realized that science is science follows a objective materialistic ideology. Uh, but apart from the objective materialism, there are also other types of thinking, other types of thinking like subjective materialism and various forms of idealism as well. So, how this objective materialism came into existence and how other forms of thinking also came into prominence and why didn't they last long? That is what the main objective of this week's lectures. So, in these lectures you could find that there were four different eras, like there were multiple eras, but all those eras of scientific thinking can be classified into this four different um, classes or categories. The first one was primitive communism. Primitive communism is where early men were existing. Early men started hunting, gathering for food and for survival. They followed a nomadic culture almost like 40,000 years ago. And whatever forms of uh, materialism was followed by them, that was uh, termed as primitive communism or primitive materialism, early materialism. And then it went on to ancient society. The primitive society developed and formed ancient society. They formed a set of rules, and the power dynamics came into play. The power dynamics, as in people started segregating themselves over each other on the basis of food availability or resources or physical or mental prowess, mental power. So this part where they evolved from a hunting and gathering society to a settled colony and started fighting over resources came to be known as an ancient society. Ancient society was there for a very long time until ancient society became much more organized and it formed into a feudal society. Um, can someone explain what a feudal society means? um, People can also explain what feudalism means. Anyone?
Political society, sir.
Yeah, political society. But I mean, political society is much more like an umbrella term. Um, a form of a aristocratic society can be told as a feudal society. I hope it's clear. So, feudal society is a form form of a area where aristocrats came into existence. Yes, aristocrats, noblemen, and the power of traders became increasingly more. That was comment as a that can be commented as a feudal society, and in feudal society there were a lot of idealistic thoughts which we will come to discuss later, and this idealistic thoughts didn't last longer, and this later formed into a capitalistic society as well, due to the thought process of several scientists, physicists like Isaac Newton, Rene Descartes, and Galileo. So we will briefly go over each era of this, each era of primitive communism, ancient society, feudal society, and capitalistic society one by one. So first, the first initial set of lectures focused on um, early men. Early men came into existence. The emergence of early men is still debatable by many scientists, since they could not pinpoint to a certain phenomenon in nature that led to the formation of early men. But what they can adjourn is that they can come to a conclusion of when early men came into existence. So early men, the first initial human society or the tracings of human activity was found almost like 40,000 years ago, where early men were found to be hunters and gatherers, and they didn't have any idea of settlement or food storage, so they almost led a more nomadic life culture. Nomadic life culture means they started moving from one place to another when the time comes, when they expect that they are going to run short of resources like food or shelter or food storage, like food storage as in a very temporary food storage, as in, if they see that any hunted food that they gathered is going to get spoiled, they are going to go to another place. That can also be termed as nomadic culture. So around 40,000 years ago, they found out that early men, majority of them followed a hunting, gathering, and nomadic culture, and this this all of these processes, hunting, gathering, and nomadic culture, during this processes, they were found to be only involved with nature. They didn't have any other thought process. They were only based focused on their survival, and their survival entirely dependent on nature and natural materials. And since this kind of thought process only involved thinking about nature, this was termed as primitive materialism. So primitive materialism is a thought process revolved around nature and natural materials. And during this time, they almost considered natural materials to be another subtle form of beings. They are not living beings per se. They can humans consider them as otherworldly beings like trees, thunder, rain, and all those stuff. So to protect themselves from thunder and nature and rain, and to give them good things, they started this practicing of chanting or doing whatever stuff to please the thunder and nature, to give them good things instead of bad things or harming them. So this was the major activities involved in primitive materialism. So you could see that. So you could already see that primitive materialism was not perfectly materialistic. It also had some idealistic principles, since this chanting and all those things were there. But sooner or later, this primitive materialism gave rise to an important aspect of human existence, which is food storage. Humans realized that they need to settle in one place, and they needed to look for other food sources, which led them to the invention of agriculture. And humans, sooner or later, they realized that once they started cultivating crops through agriculture, they would have to find a place to store them. And they also found ways to store food to prevent them from rotting away, so that they could last longer. This was mainly because that if they use up a land for agriculture, and once they get the food out of it, if they can't store the food for very long, they would have to search for other places. That was their thought process by that time. So this led them to, necessity is the mother of invention. So this led them to find more suitable food storage technologies. Not as much as the food storage technologies that we have now, like cold storage or silos or whatever like that. But they had their own natural ways of storing foods. And this food storage gave rise to the rise of power dynamics. So this power dynamics mainly involved on who can store the more food, more amount of food. This can be based upon geographical condition or physical power, but ultimately, humans started gaining power with respect to how much food they can store. So power dynamics came into play, and this power dynamics led to class division. So those who can store more food, those who can exert more power on other people, they were termed as higher class, and the rest of them were termed as lower class. And sooner or later, this led to the form of slavery. Slavery, as in not the slavery that we know like 100 years ago or something like that. It's a very ancient form of slavery, where people who were not able to um, physically protect themselves were captured by people who can protect themselves and make safety out of themselves. So these people termed the lower class people as their slaves, and who later started working for them in place of survival. And this slavery gave rise to monarchy in later times. Monarchy is a place where there is to be a king or a queen in a kingdom, and this king or a queen will order their subjects or their people to work for them in place of protection for the whole amount of people. So this gave rise to monarchy. So society started becoming more organized in this way. Although slavery is a bad thing, society started becoming more organized. There is a hierarchy of people, hierarchy of authority of people, um, and facilities started becoming more organized and developed with respect to food or food, and there also came to be the rise of different kinds of kingdoms, different kinds of areas where there used to be a king or a leader for each kind of area. And one major aspect of these kingdoms is that each kingdom was able to raise raise different foods on their own. So in order to try out different foods and form a very comprehensive um, diet or comprehensive skill set for their own people, people started doing exchange. This exchange was initially called as barter exchange, where some goods would be exchanged in place of other goods, and this barter exchange gave place to money. Uh, Sooner in the modern world, this barter exchange gave rise to money, and this exchange also gave rise to certain inventions, because if you have to exchange goods, you have to transport them from one place to the other. So to transport those commodities efficiently across places, you need certain kinds of inventions, and such that the wheel and the transport cart became common. And finally this transports lead to the um, I mean, after, so this was before the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. So after the wheel and the transport came into existence, transport became very much easy, and therefore, humans and goods were transported efficiently to other places, and work became much more easier. So this led to the rise of the Bronze Age and the Iron Age, where bronze and iron production was increased very drastically, and this finally led to the invention of accountancy and writing, which finally led to the start of the refinement of knowledge, and this led to philosophical thinking among people. So this was the early emergence of materialism, and in materialism itself it was not perfect, so there was also a piece of idealism in materialism. So after this, ultimately, so ultimately what since there was some piece of idealism and materialism as well, so this primitive materialism was one form of subjective materialism. So this went on for some more time, where the Bronze Age and Iron Age gave to the dominance of the Greek and the Roman societies, where the subjective materialism dwindled down. The importance of materialism became very low, and this was replaced by idealistic thoughts. The id- so certain people like Plato in the Greek and Roman period. They said that they stressed on the imposition of idealistic thoughts on physical bodies. So whatever physical body there used to be there in our earth, like trees or plants or animals, so these physical bodies should have idealistic thoughts. They should be based on an ideal, uh, ideal phenomenon. So the rise of idealism became very popular after the primitive materialism, and the Greek and Roman ages stressed much upon this idealism, and belief systems were developed. So in belief systems, what happened was there is to be a god, or there is to be a higher power, same as the thought of idealism, where a higher power would be there, which wasn't human, which was otherworldly, and people would be worshipping this uh, higher power. And so what happened was this thought of matter being secondary and idea being initial. Don't question, just trust. This was the motto of this idealistic society. And this Roman and thus became the rise of the feudalistic society, where this the don't question, just trust motto was being in common. And this feudalistic society gave rise to a very closed economy and culture among people. And this closed economy and culture resulted in the golden age or the middle age of gave rise to the Middle Age, in which aristocrats and traders gained immense importance because closed economy cannot survive upon itself. It needed dependence from other economies as well. So tradesmen and aristocrats acted as middlemen to facilitate exchange between these closed economies and societies. So they gained immense importance. And this idealistic thoughts, they this rich traders, they made use of this idealistic thoughts. They got more workers under them who worked under them in exchange of increased income. So if there will be people would be under people who are under traders, they'll be like, okay, I'll do this work for you. In exchange, I'll be getting one third of your produce. So they tended to work harder because their one third of their produce will also increase. So this was a cycle for certain time till the Renaissance age. And in the Renaissance age, what happened was Renaissance age followed upon three main uh, people, and in Renaissance age, the main motto was man at the center of everything. Until in the end of the primitive materialism, where an otherworldly person, subject materialism gave way to idealism, and in idealism there was a god or some god or a higher power which was kept in importance. Renaissance age challenged this idealism and said that God is not at the center of everything, man is at the center of everything. And this was fueled by many people. One of them is Galileo. So Galileo asked people to Galileo introduced objective thinking to people, and he also introduced the stressed upon the importance of the number system. And Galileo's arguments were also supported by Francis Bacon and René Descartes. And Francis Bacon and René Descartes stressed upon the use of inductive and deductive logic. And so although Francis Bacon and René Descartes had different views, both of them stressed upon the materialistic aspect of science. Francis Bacon said that there should be cooperation among scientists, and we should do experiments, and we should get some observations from those experiments which will lead us to some inference. And he also told us to observe natural bodies on a large scale so that we could get more data, and that with the data we could form scientific inferences from all the natural phenomena. Descartes also told us that the importance of science as a reason for everything. And he also stressed upon the importance of mathematics, similar to Galileo, who introduced the number system, who stressed upon the importance of number system. Descartes also stressed upon the importance of mathematics in building up physical understanding. And yeah, as a result of these three people, the Royal Societies came into take place. And soon after that, more than the contribution of these three people, Isaac Newton's contribution was valued much more than these three people. Isaac Newton was growing up in a society which was transitioning into a feudalistic to a capitalistic society, and the works of Isaac Newton mainly focused on like the Isaac Newton's first part of works mainly focused on the cross section of canals, cross section of sluice gates for transport, and then finding the latitude and longitude of any position, using that for our predicting the position of planets, etc. And the later part of his work mainly focused on the gravitational laws and mechanical laws. And this gravitational laws and mechanical laws gave increased confidence in people to believe in science, because when you start experimenting with these laws, you find out that everything has a reason. Every object has a follows a certain law, and this law gives reason to this object's existence. And yes, so Isaac Newton increased the uh, belief of materialism again in people. But one major problem that Isaac Newton's materialism generated is that everyone started believing that everything is possible, everything is a part of an immutable law, and then the whole world acts like a very giant mission where everything follows a certain rule. And therefore, whatever materialism that Isaac Newton proposed was called as mechanical materialism. And this was also followed by Laplace's questions, Laplace's statements, which said that everything is commutable. And this was actually challenged by Benjamin Thompson, who found out that this phlogiston, calorific and vital forces. Phlogiston was the force that produces fire. Caloric was the force that flows from a hot body to cold body, and vital forces is the force that is in life. So Benjamin Thompson found out that there is no such thing as calorie. It's just energy being converted from one form to another. And yeah, so the findings of Benjamin Thompson's studies, which said that calorie is just conversion of energy from one form to another, led to the formation of energy conversion devices. And James Watson, who founded the steam engine, he made use of that, and that started the industrial revolution for industrial revolution. And following this, once again, yeah. Following this industrial revolution, this empiricism, which says that everything is part of an experience and truth is limited to our experience. This form of ideology came more into forefront. So you can see that first primitive materialism, subjective materialism, idealism, and then once again materialism through Isaac Newton, and then empiricism. Empiricism is somewhere in between materialism and idealism because it doesn't it stresses on a singular truth, and the truth cannot change. The truth being experience is a source of knowledge and truth. So since that truth is not going anywhere, that cannot be considered as an ideal materialistic thought. So whatever experience we get, that experience might change for every person, but that would be the absolute truth. So the idea of empiricism started contradicting itself, and the yeah, and this idea of empiricism was like propagated by three people like John Locke, David Hume, and John Stuart Mill, names who you would have learned in the first first week of lectures as well. And yeah, certain all of them stressed on different aspects of empiricism. And John Stuart Mill said that although math concepts like mathematics and science are very pretty abstract in that ages, the starting point of them is pretty empiristic. Starting point is some form of experience. And all this empiricism was mainly used by idealists to fuel their ideology through biology, because biology was sort of their last bastion, last pillar of support, because nothing in ideology gave scientists a very materialistic perspective. But then the introduction of fossils started. People started working in mines, and people started discovering fossils. So these fossils acted as an evidence to early life, and therefore the materialistic thoughts came into forefront once again. And finally, Charles Darwin, having a very naturalistic perspective, somewhere between materialism and idealism, he started exploring the world. And this famous cartoon explaining the Galapagos Islands exploration convinced him about a process called natural selection, which is a material process. So he went to an island and found that the same bird, same kind of finch, this bird is called a finch. The same finch had different beaks depending upon the type of food that it consumes. So let's just say that a kind of finch just wants to swallow a lot of food, so it would have a very long beak. A type of finch would want to pick up on its prey and then fly away, so it had a very clawed beak. And then some type of finches wants to bore well into ground or wood and then get its food, so that would have a strong pointed beak to bore into its wood. So Charles Darwin found out that depending upon its purpose that it needs, the organism develops its features around it. So he found out natural selection to be a very materialistic process, and he wrote that in his Theory of Evolution book, which many people read, and many people found out to be very um, right or in the right way. And similarly, another natural selection example would be the uh, selection of dark moths over white moths over nature. So what happened was, so this before the industrial revolution, what used to happen is many moths in England used to be white in color. And since the industrial evolution started, there used to be a lot of smoke production, which would be deposited on lichens. Lichens are the places where moths would reside, and smoke would be deposited generally on these lichens. So as a result, what would happen is the moth would be clearly visible, and those would be consumed by birds. So naturally, this moths got selected to be more black in color compared to white in color, so that they can camouflage along with the soot that is produced from the pollution, so that they could survive the birds invasion. So this was also an example of natural selection, and this many people found this to be a materialistic process. So from then onwards, people started experimenting more in biology, and people started getting more results and inferences which supported this materialistic view of science. And simultaneously, some scientific activities were done in India as well. And similar to whatever was observed in Europe, India also went through a phase of materialism, idealism in the period of Shankaracharya, and then it went back to materialism after the Indian Renaissance in the 19th century through several scientists such as Raja Ram Mohan Roy, P.C. Ray, S.N. Bose, and J.C. Bose. And the lecturer, Dr. Soumitra Banerjee, he also explained how European mathematics and Arabic science was adapted and translated from different texts of Indian science. So that's all the recap I have for this week. So we can go for a doubt session till 3:45, and then now the time is 3:35. We can have a doubt session till 3:45. Doubt session as in it will generally be a session, and after 3:45 we can go for a discussion of the assignment answers. I'll open the chat box for doubts. You can, if you want to type your questions in the chat box, you can type in the chat box, or if you want to speak by mic, you can raise your hand and then um, you can ask. Vijay is saying, just for curiosity, what's your research area? So my area of research involves a combination of biosensors and molecular imaging. So right now I am focusing on developing contrast agents for um, uh, many imaging modalities. So basically, what I do is I do a mix of organic chemistry, cell culture, in vitro studies, and in vivo studies, along with instrumentation. S. Gupta, you can go ahead.
Sir, in first assignment means the question was
Okay.
that it is one thing that it is. So it is means we should select one. Okay, but the answer I selected answer absolute. But the accepted answer were unique, relative, concrete.
Yes.
So I think I an object on the relativity. So truth, if something is true, then how it can be relative?
Yeah. So something is so. Okay, let us take this example. So, science, why they say science is relative, because whatever you find today might not be true tomorrow. So, you're testing something in some particular conditions, and that is true for only those conditions, and that is true for this time period. So, let's just say that let's just say, for example, that in olden days they used to drop iron ball, like 1 kg of iron, and then 1 kg of feathers, and then they used to drop them at the same time.
Sir, but we are talking in the open world, no? So in that case, I think it should be relativity means if we are talking about the universal truth, then how
Yeah,
it
that's
can be the relativity?
yeah, that's what. So so scientists usually say that there is no universal truth. Whatever truth that is today might be might be just because of like whatever truth that you get from a series of experiments might just be because of your experimental setup.
Okay, sir, and one
Over
more
over
thing.
over like 5 or 10 years, like not even just 5 or 10 years, let's just take 50 or 100 years later, someone might come with a better experimental setup than you according to the technology that they have, and then they might find even more accurate results, or even different results, or the same accurate results of your version. So whatever truth that you have, that exists only true only for a certain time frame or time window, that might change later. So that's why they say that science is relative. Science is not absolute.
No, sir, science is relative. It's okay. I am accepting it. But if we are talking about the truth, then it should be the absolute, no? And one more thing that question in question was it is concrete also. So what does it mean? Concrete means
So concrete means that so whatever you are finding, like in any certain experiment, if you are finding something that cannot have any exceptions, form of exceptions, that's what it means by science being concrete.
oh, sir. In case of science, it is okay. If we are talking about the science, but the truth means it's in means in abstract form. So how it can be the concrete? Concrete
No,
means
even
the
even
uh,
here they talk about truth in the scientific context. They talk about scientific experiments and whatever findings or natural phenomena we find through science. So truth can also be philosophical truth, but in this context, in this context, they are talking about, they're addressing to truth as scientific truth.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Vijaya is also saying, Gupta is saying truth definition from philosophical. Yes, which is usually not like which is also a different form of perspective. But in this course, in this context, we are taking truth from a scientific point of view, not from a philosophical point of view.
It's okay, sir. Thank you. Uh, Sir, may I have one question more, sir?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Okay. Sir, in assignment 2, there was a question. First question, it is given that if copper is dipped in vinegar, then copper turned green.
Okay.
So, what we infer from it? So, I answered if copper is not dipped in vinegar, then copper does not turn green. And if copper
Uh,
is dipped in vinegar, then copper must be green. And the accepted answer was if copper did not turn green, then copper was not dipped in vinegar. And the second answer
Vijaya,
was
um,
if copper is dipped in vinegar, then copper must turn green. So in the last one is okay, but the first option, if copper is not dipped in vinegar, then copper does not turn green. So it is in if we talk about in the grammatical sense, so it is in present tense, and the accepted answer was in past tense. If copper did not turn green, then copper was not dipped in vinegar. So, does it matter in terms of grammatical
no, no.
terms?
In a grammatical terms, it does not matter. What matters is the use case. So, like if you want to try to understand the answers first, So they
Yes,
are
sir.
saying that, so the first statement is saying that if copper is dipped in vinegar, then it turns green. So there is a cause and there is a effect.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but in the answers, they are either saying, they either giving the effect first. Copper is not turning green, so it is not turning not dipped in vinegar or something. So first they will be giving the effect and the cause. So it will be a mix of the cause, having cause and effect being interchanged from each other. So from there, irrespective of the grammatical sense, you must try to find out what would be more appropriate.
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Vijay Mahantesh, Vijay is saying that don't we have all these concepts from Indian civilization perspective as well? Yeah, we actually have, but there are less illustrative. That's why I gave a very verbal recap of whatever happened from Indian civilization. Like the amount of illustrative recap from Indian civilization development was very low. So basically, what happened in Indian civilization was that we initially had three ages: the um, Indus Valley civilization age, the Vedic age, and then the post Vedic age. And the timings of whatever this happened was very random, but there are findings which does not arbitrarily fix, like which are only arbitrary, like they don't concretely fix the time period of when it happened or what happened. So basically, they have certain findings. For example, in Vedic age, Sanskrit was introduced as a language, and Sanskrit was tried to develop as a full method for education and transaction. And there were other forms of Shastras and Vedas being published, which uh, told us some laws or some which explained about some laws and math for religious purposes. And in post-Vedic age, there was a rise in Buddhism, and there was also this uh, advent of Ayurveda and Atharvana Veda, and surgical introduction to surgery by a certain scientist called Sushruta. And yeah, after that, I think in post-Vedic age, they focused on the findings of Aryabhatta and Bhaskara, especially how Aryabhatta came with the idea of zero, and Bhaskara came with the motion of sun and moon, the motion of sun and moon around the earth. And yeah, and basically after that they were just discussing about the advent of idealism in how by Shankaracharya, and how it followed a similar, the wave of materialism and idealism followed a similar graph, like not a graph, similar pattern as compared to the scientific discourse in Europe as well. The main reason why things are not as elaborate in Indian civilization as in Europe is because of the um, uh, I wouldn't say failure, but difficulty in pinpointing the events to certain time periods, time frames. Like um, what is more concrete about the scientific discourse in Indian civilization? What is more concrete about this is that the advent of materialism back from idealism towards the end of 18th century or towards the start of 19th century, and the key findings of scientists through the modern scientific background uh, in the 19th starting from the 19th century. I hope this is clear. Like there were also other facts saying that Arabian math, Arabs from Arabian Peninsula took out our like they also took out our texts, translated and adapted them in Arabic, and then they tried to pass on that knowledge to Europeans. But those are claims. The evidence for that are very minimal or not available for many people to access. So that's why the claims just remain as claims. Okay. We'll wait for 2 more minutes, and around 3:50 we will start the answer discussion for the assignment. I would also like to remind people that like the deadline for the second assignment, like first two assignments, was on Feb 7. So I hope all of you had submitted it. And I think from yesterday, the week 4 lectures are also uploaded to your NPTEL ID. So those week 4 lectures are also accessible for you people. So you can go over the week 4 lectures, and we'll be having the week 4 TA session the same day, same Saturday, next Saturday, 3 to 5. So we will be discussing week 4's answers the next Saturday. So I hope you all go through the lectures by then.
So actually, I had registered to the course very late. So is it possible to submit previous assignment?
Actually, Feb 7 was the last date to submit the first two assignments answers. So I think you had date till Feb 7 because the course started in Jan 24. I think I heard from many people that they registered on Feb 5 and were able to submit by Feb 7.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's already 3:50, so we'll start to go over the assignments one by one. So yeah, one general disclaimer before the start of discussion is that these are answers that I came up with. They are not the official NPTEL key. So once the NPTEL key, because I think last week also I had a discrepancy with respect to one answer. I don't know how that turned out to be. I think it just the 10th question in the second assignment was sort of a discrepant answer. So, yeah, whatever we're discussing is, I just came up with this answer. So, oh, it turned out to be correct. Yeah, very well then. But I still do think that there is just inductive logic. I have some concerns about how it can also be deductive logic. Yeah. So,
Yes, sir.
anyways,
The same thing was with me also, sir. I was thinking in that answer, it should be the inductive logic only, sir.
yes, yes, yes. So I still have some concerns how it could be deductive logic as well. But
Yes, sir.
yeah,
But it is wrong mark, sir. So they have deducted 1 marks for it.
no, okay, okay. But nevertheless, I think I don't think you would be getting this kind of questions in your end semester exams. Like these are very factual. Like and I think for everyone it is not that quite possible to remember all these factual details as well. I think even in this assignment 3, you'll be getting a lot of factual questions because the entire week's lectures were based on history.
Sir, but for 1 marks is matter for us because we are taking this as a coursework for our PhD.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that's why we have to take a credit transfer for it now.
Ah, yes, yes. But I think I think this weightage is very low for assignments compared to the final exam.
Yes, sir, it is 25%.
Ah, 25%, yes.
Hmm.
Yes, Vijay is saying, yeah, answer is both inductive and deductive logic only. The way, like, inductive logic we know, like, because Hubble was able to find the correlation between the luminosity and the distance between the stars. He was able to correlate the distance between luminosity based on the, um, I forgot the name for it now. Um, Henry Leavitt. So he was able to get the Cepheid variables for the stars in Andromeda galaxy, and then he was able to this thing. I think the reason why the NPTEL, like the course instructor, went with deductive logic as well as was because it was the Cepheid variables were particular for certain stars, but he kind of like generalized it to the whole Andromeda galaxy as well, center of Andromeda galaxy. Uh, yeah, so it's a mix of so the usage of Cepheid variables is a mix of general to particular and particular to general, and that's why it's both. I think it's both inductive and deductive logic. Okay. Okay, then we'll go on to the answer discussion, and after this answer discussion as well, we will be having a doubt session till the end of the session, that is 5 o'clock. So we'll get started. So the first question is a multiple select answer question, which means that multiple questions are correct. So the transition from the hunting gathering phase to the agriculture initiated um, A, village and city life, B, slavery, uh, C, industrial society, D, music and art. Slavery is correct. Yes, slavery is correct, but I think there is also one more option which is correct. Um, like, I think in the videos also there was only one instance of this mention. I think village and city life will also be a correct answer. Yes, even I wouldn't have guessed this answer if it was a multiple choice question. But if it was a multiple choice question, slavery would be my answer as well. But since it is a multiple select answer question, village and city life could also be a correct answer. Why village and city life is because of the power dynamics and imbalance between the power, food storage, and like facilities around people. So we talked about a part in the primitive materialism that people started having a difference in capabilities of food storage, either physically or infrastructurally. So this infrastructural change could have resulted in areas which were, you know, highly highly advanced or relatively advanced in food storage and uh, settlements, whereas there would be areas where food storage was very scarce and people still were kind of nomadic. So I think this is what they meant by village and city life. So since there's a multiple select question answer, this could be correct as well. Industrial society is a very industrial society is also might be a correct answer, but it's a very fast stretch compared to village and city life. Music and art, it's not a correct answer. So village and city life and slavery would be correct. Any doubts regarding this question?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Sir, I have one doubt. In same question, if I got in the assignment, if you select two answers, means it is okay, or only we need to select one single answer?
So that is what. So I think you will be having different kinds of buttons or something to choose from. If it is a multiple select question, you'll be having boxes to choose from. If it is multiple choice, I think you can only choose one answer. Like you can't choose more
Yeah.
than one answer.
Just now, Gupta, Mr. Gupta is discussed about copper rod is dipped in the vinegar. It is turned into the green color like this, na?
Yes.
Yesterday in this assignment, that question is came right.
Yes.
In that question, they given not if you select one answer also, two or three also it is given.
Yes. Yes. Two answers are correct actually. One was
Yeah.
so in that copper turning into green thing. One was a like so two answers were
If you
correct.
not
One.
dipped in the vinegar, it
Yes.
won't turn
One
into the
was
green.
yes. One
Two
was
is there.
yes. One was modest ponens and one was modest tolerance. So both the answer like there were two options in the four options which were correct. One was a form of modest tolerance. One was a form of modest tolerance.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Sir,
Like,
but it was taken as a on the grammatical basis, sir. Modest tolerant and modest ponent is okay. I know very well, but the thing is that it was taken on the grammatical basis, sir.
uh,
I am repeating that questions again. I am just coming to that question. Just a minute, sir.
yeah. So, Gupta, so maybe we can also discuss the assignment two answers later after this.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Umesh and Gupta or anyone who is here, we can also, like, maybe we can go through some of the answers from assignment 2 as well in after the discussion of assignment 3.
About these questions, the transitions from hunting gathering phase to agriculture initiated. So we have taken two options like village and city life and slavery. Sometimes it feels we are showing the subjectivity. For example, I am one of the subjects and I am taking its village and city life. Then why it is not okay, sir?
Sorry. Can you repeat your
I am saying about these questions, the transitions from hunting gathering phase to agriculture initiated. So it is a multi-selection questions, and
yes.
we have just discussed and we have selected these two options like village and city life and slavery. It's
Okay.
okay, sir, but it is somewhat subjective questions. If I am the one of the subjects and I am selecting village and city life, then how it is incorrect, sir?
That might not be incorrect. Like, when did I say that it's incorrect?
No, sir, but if I am not, if I am selecting only one village and city life, maybe they will show it in incorrect answer. I should select both of them.
Oh, so your concern. Oh, okay. So
Yes, sir.
now we get it. So if there are two options and if you choose only one, it's still showing wrong.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and are you getting full marks or partial marks for it?
No, no, सर ये अभी तो इसका डेट है सर 14th को अभी होगा ये
Sorry.
इसका भी इट इज सेवन जस्ट ए मिनट सर
Okay. And if
इट्स
the
सबमिशन डेट इज 14th सर
okay,
सो इट
yeah,
इज
submission date is all right. I mean, then you would be getting the answer late only. But I'm just saying, I think that's not a. I think you should just take it up with the NPTEL team only, like at least to give you partial marks for partial correct answers.
but they are not giving that sir.
Yeah, like you can just post it in the discussion forum group of this course, Research Methodology in Natural Sciences. It is available in Google Groups. You can access it through the NPTEL top bar. If you say like ask a question or I think yes, in that way I think you can go to the Google Groups and just post a mail to the NPTEL team saying or asking for partial marks.
Right sir. Okay sir, thank you sir.
Okay then. If there are no other doubts, I think we'll move on to the next question. The Greek philosopher Thales believed that everything in the world is made out of water. This is an example of.
Mayuresh here. It should be subjective materialism, right?
Uh, yes, I mean, subjective materialism can be an answer, but why do you think so?
Because this water is a material first of all,
Yes,
and
exactly.
as it was thought by Mr. Thales, and further generation would have thought that it was Thales' approach, and then they would have believed in him. So it was subjective. He believed in that.
Perfect. I mean, like perfectly said. So, wait 1 second. I just yes. So answer is subjective materialism only. So like you can just break down the question into various parts for the others who still don't understand the how it is subjective materialism. So you could just break down the answer into several parts. So Thales believed that everything in the world is made out of water, and that is also I'm getting some disturbance in the thing. So can people please mute their mics? Yes, thank you. So yes. So coming back to the question. So yeah, Thales believed that everything in the world is made out of water. So this is a completely materialistic thought. So people following materialism, what their thought process is, everything is matter, everything is made of matter, and water is also a form of matter. So that is also a form of materialism, and Thales is believing that. So Thales didn't do any experiments, or he didn't find out using any um, find out using anything that everything in the world is made out of water. He just thinks of it. So that is a form of subjectivity. So if he believing that everything in the world is made out of water is a form of subjective materialism. Does anyone have any queries or doubts with this? Okay, if not, we'll go to the next question. Okay, this is a very uh, a factual question, which is given in the video itself. It's a multiple choice, so only one choice is correct. So, according to Ptolemy, Ptolemy said something about the solar system, how the Earth and Sun and solar system and planets are kept, and how they move. So, what among these options are correct? Rival even is saying C. The Earth is at the center of the solar system and planets move in epicycles. So that is almost the correct answer. So yeah. So by once again, I'll just pull out my pen. So this is what Ptolemy told. So we have the Earth here, and then so Earth is at the center of the solar system, and planets move in epicycles. So this is an epicycle. So this is an epicycle. So basically, Ptolemy said that Earth is at the center of the solar system and planets move in this shape. That's why we kind of observe all the waxing and waning pattern of all the planets when we visualize them in the night sky at different days. So that was his point of view of the positioning of the planets in the solar system. Does anyone have any doubts with this? This is a completely factual question, like um, most of the questions in this assignment, because it's once again I'm saying that most of it is just based on history. No doubts. Okay, then I'll move on to the next question. In the method of science, Rene Descartes emphasized the importance of. This is also a very factual question. Like you could have, like once you just skim through the videos, you will find out what is it. So this is the advent of mechanical materialism, and Galileo, Francis Bacon, and Rene Descartes were the three main pillars or starting points of mechanical materialism. Rebal even is saying application of mathematics, but it's a MSQ. So what else did he say? So correct, obviously, Rene Descartes said that mathematics is required to understand physical bodies, and it's essential in building physical understanding. Mayuresh Gupta is saying Gupta is saying ANC, Mayuresh is saying ANC. Logical reasoning. Um, Okay, I mean, I would say logical reasoning because he'd say that deductive logic, like he stressed on deductive logic as well. But yeah, once again, it's a bit skeptical around because logical reasoning is a very big umbrella term. But Rene Descartes was found to have stressed upon only on the deductive part of it. The inductive part was supposed to be supported by Francis Bacon. But yes, so logical reasoning would be the correct answer. Like, I'm just saying it because it's an MSQ, because application of inductive logic, obviously Francis Bacon, observation and collection of data, once again Francis Bacon. So you collect data, observe it, inference it and say to conduct experiments, observation, correction of data, and then you infer from it. That was also part of um, Francis Bacon. So the remaining two options should be the correct options according to if it's an MSQ. That's why I'm going for logical reasoning and application of mathematics. But logical reasoning also is a very half-baked answer, I would say, because Rene Descartes focused only, asserted only on the deductive part of it. Does anyone have any doubts or discussions with respect to this question? If not, we'll move to the next question. I think next question will be about Francis Bacon only, if I'm not wrong. Okay. Yes. In the method of science, yes. In the method of science, Francis Bacon emphasized on the importance of. So we already saw in the last question, what did Francis Bacon do? So whatever was not there in that question was should be this answer. So, and he, factually, indeed, Francis Bacon focused on application of inductive logic and observation and correction of data. So A and C are the correct answers. Yes. Application of mathematics is just the opposite of previous answer. It's of Rene Descartes, and creative imagination. Neither of the three people, Galileo, Francis Bacon, or Rene Descartes, gave the like stressed upon creative imagination. If there are no doubts, I'll go on to the next question now. Okay. Yeah, same. So in the method of science, Galileo emphasized the importance of. It's a MCQ, so only one option is correct. And yeah, Mayuresh and Vijay is correct. C, objective thinking. Once again, it's a completely um, factual question. The application of calculus, it came after these three people. So Galileo, Francis Bacon, and Rene Descartes. None of them have any involvement in calculus. It was, in fact, Isaac Newton who started practicing and theorizing many theories in calculus, and subjective thinking was not Galileo's forte, and syllogistic logic is a Aristotelian thought process. It is not a Galilean thought process. Yes, I hope the question is quite clear and no one has any doubts with this. Okay, so this question is Giordano Bruno was burnt at stake because Reba Lieben is saying he supported the Copernican idea of the solar system. Yes, it's also an MCQ, so yes, he supported the Copernican idea of solar system. But could someone explain in the chat or mic what the Copernican idea of the solar system was? Yes, all of them, all of you people are correct. Mayuresh, Reba, Namrata, Gupta, and Vijay. Yes, Vijay and Mayuresh said the same thing. Sun is at center and Earth revolves around it. Yes, that was basically the Copernican idea of system. And Giordano Bruno found it at a church, and he started propagating this idea that Copernicus once theorized, hypothesized, or found out that the Earth, Sun is at the center and Earth revolve around it. But the time at which Giordano Bruno was existing was at a pretty feudalistic and idealistic society. So when he was in Italy, the Roman people, the Roman kingdom people, they refused to accept his ideas, and they not only did that, they also um, told that to the king that there is someone who is spreading false ideas and false information about God and all those stuff. So he tried to escape from Italy, but the Roman army captured him, and they tried to convince him that this materialistic thoughts are false, but he still didn't give in. So in the end, they just burned him alive. Committed adultery, stole the church property, was a soldier in the enemy army. All of them are like non-factual answers in this context. So no questions, I guess, for this question. So I'll move on to the next question. Yes, the line of argument of William Paley was that, yes, four options. So William Paley is a reverend. Yes. So Mayuresh and Gupta saying C, each organism is a product of intelligent design. That is the correct answer. So Reverend William Paley came during, like, was existing during the period of the rise of empiricism and evolution. So John Locke, David Hume, and John Stuart Mill, they were propagating the idea of empiricism. So empiricism just means that our experience is what consists of our knowledge. So our experience is our prerequisite, or it's a source for whatever knowledge we gain out of it, and whatever truth we know, that is limited to our experience. That is the main idea of empiricism. So it's um, kind of a thought process which, it is materialistic, but it also slightly leans towards idealism. And several math also was proved to be under empiristic and stuff. But there was also, so not during the period of empiricism, not all was materialistic. Some people who had idealistic thoughts were also trying to fight their way through it. And even during the advent of fossils, which served as an evidence to materialistic evolution process was found, some people try to fight their way, saying that there should be a starting point for everything. So he told a general example that, let us say that you walk through a forest and then you find a twig or a leaf. So you know that you don't care much about that leaf because that leaf is where it's supposed to be. But on the other case, Reverend William Paley, he said that, let's just say that you walk through a forest and then you find a watch, a digital watch or an analog watch. You take it up, you try to examine it. Watch is a very mechanistic design. It's a very it's a very mechanistic design. You start to observe it and you start to worry because the watch is not where it is supposed to be. That is what his idea was. So is he extrapolated that idea of a watch in a forest to saying that if there is a design, if there is a watch is a random design in a forest. So if there is a random design which is not fitting into the forest, there must be a designer as well. So there must be some, and he extrapolated the same concept to the creation of humans. So if there is a creation of the humans as well as the creation of the universe as well. With respect to the creation of humans, he said that if there are none of the planets in the solar system are habitable, all the planets ranging from the sun to the Neptune are inhabitable except for Earth, and Earth is the only planet which has humans in it. No other planet has any other forms of living forms in it, and it does not have any other stuff to support their life forms as well, such as water or air. So Earth only has humans. So if humans are there in the Earth, there must be someone who designed the humans as well. So he said that there must be any higher power. There must be a godly power or otherworldly power. And he also extrapolated this to the idea of the creation of universe. He said that universe just happened to be wherever it is right now, and universe didn't get created on its own. So there must be someone or something which should have done something to create the universe in the first place. That was his idea. So final answer is this: is each organism is a product of intelligent design. Does anyone have any doubts with this question? Okay, if there are no doubts, I'll go on to the Next question. I think it is a very factual question. So, the Vedic age in India spanned approximately the period. So, uh, this one is a pretty simple answer. Yes, every one of you is correct. Option is D. So, 1500 BC to 600 BC. Although they are just framing this as to be the Vedic age. So, just as I said in the previous like half an hour or 1 hour ago in this lecture, I told you that um, none of the ages in India can be pinpointed to any time frames. These people are just saying that, so historians are just saying that Vedic ages might have been between 1500 to 600 because some sources of data from the Vedic history points to these time frames. Before the Indus Valley civilization was before Vedic age, so that is not possible. 1 lakh BC to 10,000 BC again not possible because humans themselves were not there during that time. Same goes for 9,000 to 3,000 BC as well. So, last question. Aryabhatta, this is also a very factual question. Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, and Bhaskara belong to the post Vedic age. This. So I'll just quickly go through all. So now that we are done with all the 10 questions, I'll just briefly go over all the um, questions, answers one more time. Like we'll not be discussing. I'll just go through all the questions one by one. This is just for the people who joined late in the meeting because they couldn't sit through the discussion as well. So question number one: the transition from the hunting gathering phase to agriculture initiated village and city life and slavery. This is a multiple select question, so two options. Second question is: the Greek philosopher Thales believed that everything in the world is made out of water. This is an example of subjective materialism. This is an MCQ, so only one option is correct. According to Ptolemy, it's an MCQ, and the answer is the Earth is at the center of the solar system, and the planets move in epicycles. So epicycles are this kind of fancy pattern where they move in circles, and that's why we observe waxing and waning of uh, most of the planets in the solar system in the night sky whenever we try to view them. Question number 4, it's a multiple select question. In the method of science, Rene Descartes emphasized the importance of logical reasoning and application of mathematics. The other two options doesn't fall into Rene Descartes' emphasization. So in question number 5, in the method of science, Francis Bacon emphasized the importance of application of inductive logic and observation and correction of data. So once again, this is a multiple select question. Two questions are correct. Two answers are correct, sorry. In the sixth question, in the method of science, Galileo emphasized the importance of, this is a multiple choice question, so answer is only one option, it's objective thinking. So question number 7, Giordano Bruno was burnt at stake because, correct answer is option D, he supported the Copernican idea of the solar system. The eighth question, line of argument of William Paley was that each organism is a product of intelligent design. Ninth question, the Vedic age in India spanned approximately in the period 1500 to 600 BC. And the last question, Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta and Bhaskara belonged to the post-Vedic age. Option B. So, uh, so we are done with the questions and answer discussion of the um, assignment questions of week 3. So we'll go on to another doubt session for this week. Time is 4:25. So till the end of the session, 5 o'clock, we will be having the discussion for we'll be having a doubt session. Or if I think Gupta and Vishwas wanted a discussion of answers for the assignment 2 as well. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So just give me 2 minutes. I'll also pull out the presentation for the week two. So after that we can start discussing.
So, may I have, sir, some doubt, sir?
Yes, sure, sure. Is
Okay.
this respect to assignment two?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I'm saying. I'll just close this and pull out the presentation for week two. Then we can start discussing.
Sir, in assignment number 2,
One second. Let me just pull this out.
question number 10.
One second, Gupta. Yes. Now, can you see my screen for week two?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, one second. I'll just pull out my laser pointer. So, this was just a recap of my week two, and this was the question that most of you had a doubt with, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So we'll read the question carefully now. So if it is given that if copper is dipped in vinegar, then copper turns green. So they
Okay.
are given four options for that. Forget the grammatical structures because none of the inductive or deductive logic or the syllogistic logic focuses on any grammatical structures. The grammatical structures being tenses or yeah,
It comes in model logic, sir. Actually.
yes. So you just take out subject, predicate, and object, and then you
Yes.
just interchange all of them, and then see which one makes more sense in these questions. And the concept of modus ponens and modus tollens also follow the same kinds of rules. So that just involves the interchange, like so the subject becoming the object, and the object becoming the subject, and so on and so forth.
Right, sir.
According to this question, so they have given that if A happens, copper dipping in vinegar, B happens, copper turns green. So if A happens, B happens. So
Yes.
this is a example of modus tollens. Sorry, modus ponens.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what would be modus tollens if B does not happen, A does not happen?
Modest tolerance means if A happens and B not, A happens and B happens, and
Yes,
B and B not happens, then A
yes,
not happens.
exactly. So that is modus tollens.
Yes,
So
sir.
according to that, if copper did not turn green, so copper turning green is B.
Copper turn is B. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So what would be not B, the opposite of B?
Opposite of B. Copper not turn green, sir.
Yes, exactly. So
Um,
copper did not turn green. That is opposite of B. What would
yes,
be
sir.
opposite of A here?
Copper is not dipped.
Yes, exactly. So copper is not dipped in vinegar. So modus tollens say that if A happens, B happens,
Yes,
B
sir.
does not happen, so A does not happen. So according to modus tollens, in this situation, if copper dipped in vinegar, then copper turns green. If copper does not turn green, then copper is not dipped in vinegar.
Yes, sir.
So this would be a correct option. And second option, it is just a different, sorry, second option, it is just a different version of modus ponens. If A happens, B happens. A is there, so B is also there.
Okay, it's a kind of necessity, sir.
Yes, exactly. It should.
Uh,
So
there are two
it
more
should.
things, but necessity and possibility. So it is necessity, sir.
Yes, they didn't say it copper may be turned green. So if they say copper may be turned green, then it is a wrong assumption. Then it is a
Yes,
wrong
sir.
conclusion because they are giving that if copper is dipped in vinegar, then copper turns green. So if copper is dipped
So
in vinegar, then it must turn
it
green.
must be green. Okay, sir.
Yes.
But sir, what about the first? If copper is not dipped in vinegar, then copper does not turn green. Is
Okay.
it incorrect, sir?
Yes. So this statement, it is saying that copper is not dipped in vinegar, not A, then copper does not turn green, then not B. So connected with the first question, connected with the
Yes.
first statement, A happens, B happens, A does not happen, then B does not happen. That actually is a very wrong conclusion because B can happen even without A sometimes.
Uh, B can happen without A.
Without A.
So, sir, but sir, in your answer, if copper did not turn green,
Okay.
then copper was not dipped in vinegar. Okay, it is.
So
Okay,
copper.
right, sir. I think they
Okay.
have
I'll tell.
interchanged the things actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you an alternate example as well.
Okay,
So
okay.
I will not dip copper in
I
vinegar. Okay, but I will paint it with green.
I got the point, sir. Here I got the point.
Yeah, but
Yes,
so if it is not dipped in vinegar, you can't necessarily say that it can't turn green now because it can turn green by any other way as well.
exactly, sir.
Yes, and I think if other option, um, okay, I think you might have been confused with the second and the fourth option as well. Must it copper must turn green? Copper must have been dipped in vinegar. Gupta, are you there?
Yes, sir.
I
Uh,
like
I
so
admit the fourth is okay, sir. It's copper is dipped
okay,
in
but
vinegar,
did you
then
get
copper
confused
must die.
between second and fourth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so okay, um, okay now I get your doubt actually. So second option they're saying that if copper turned green, then it must have been dipped in vinegar. So actually, what happens here is they are saying that if it was dipped in vinegar, then it turns green. So must have. So since the must have been part is there, then I think B comes first. If A then B is there. So they are asking you if A is also there, and that would be a very wrong assumption.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In fact,
I
I
didn't. I'm very like actually this is my fault. Like I didn't notice the uh, difference between second and fourth option. That's why I didn't get your doubt in the first time.
oh, right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. And does
Uh,
anyone have any other doubt in any other question, or should we go every question one by one?
sir, maybe go one by one, sir.
Yes, sure, sure, sure. So
Right.
first question is it is given that copper is dipped in vinegar, then copper turns green. So the modus ponens and modus tollens should be correct. So modus tollens is if copper did not turn green, then copper was not dipped in vinegar, and modus ponens would be if copper is dipped in vinegar, then copper must turn green. So we move to the second question. Uh, should we discuss the questions or should I just tell the answers for this one?
Just a minute, sir. One. So I have given the answer for it. There is hole in the ozone layer. The incidence of cancer has increased.
Yes, that would be the correct answer as well.
Uh,
That would be the correct answer as well, Gupta.
no, sir. One more option I take. Death rate is increased.
Okay.
So I gave three options. First, second, and
First,
fourth.
second, and fourth you should have given.
Fourth.
Okay.
So
So
uh,
okay, Okay, we can go by logic itself. So we'll try to answer the logic. So I think you don't have any problem with the first option and fourth option, because
Yes, sir.
we just want to know why your second option is not correct. So
So,
second option is saying death rate is increased. So we have three statements and a premise. So can you find anywhere where there is a mention about death rate?
there is no place, sir. It's
Yeah. So, according to the statements and premise, according to the three statements given here and the premise given here, your conclusion cannot involve death rate because there is no relation between death rate and. I get it. You are logically you are correct, but
yes, sir. Yes.
according to the statements and premise, your answer is valid. But according to the
Mm,
statements and premise, logically, there is no relation between death rate and the statements or the premise.
yes, sir. Here they are taking closed word assumptions. So something that is given, that is true. If it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not given,
Death,
that is
death,
false.
death rate is actually a very close word assumption.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
that
sir.
we should
Yes.
not be taking.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, yes, sure. One second, I'll just. Okay, then if no one has any other doubts, we'll move on to the
But sir,
third
we have
question.
not been given the partial marking, sir, in this case.
Yes, I get it, Gupta. I think that should be addressed actually, but that is not in my hands because that is in NPTEL's hands. I
Yes, sir.
think
I can understand,
I think
sir.
this would be the like for people who enroll in multiple courses, that would be the case for them as well. Like even in any other course, if they gave partial answers, they wouldn't be getting partial marks. That would be the case, I think. So I think it's up to you people to take it up to NPTEL to resolve this issue.
Right, sir. Thank
Like
you,
with
sir.
respect to marking and evaluation and examination, TAs don't have any role, sadly. That's all I can tell you.
I can understand, sir.
Yes. So we will move on to the next question. Like I statements, like I think in this assignment, questions number 2 to 5 will have all exactly the same three statements. Only the premise will change, and based on the premise, you have to choose the correct answer. So in this third question, the premise will be a statistical survey showed that the incidence of cancer has increased. So based on this premise, there will be no modus ponens or modus tollens in any of the three options. So answer will be none of the above. And in the fourth question, same. So in the premise, they were given that a statistical survey showed that the
Arjun,
incidence.
Mayuresh, can you just go back to the last question, question number 3?
Yeah, yes, sure, sure.
Can you just explain how to think on this answer?
Cool, yeah, sure. So, statement, I'll just read out all the stuff first again.
Yeah.
So, statement one will be if the concentration of CFCs in the air exceeds the threshold, there will be a hole in the ozone layer. Statement two is saying if there is a hole in the ozone layer, a large amount of UV radiation will reach Earth's surface. And statement 3 says that UV radiation causes cancer. So you can see that there is a definite pattern. An object for the first statement will be the subject for the second, and so on and so forth. This will be the set of statements. And in the premise, they are asking that they are saying that a statistical survey showed that the incidence of cancer has increased. So based on that, we have to check if all the three options are correct. So where can we start? Yes. So incidence of cancer has increased. So we will see with respect to statement 3 alone. So they are given UV causes cancer and there is an incidence of cancer. So A gives B, so B is there. So they are expecting whether A is there or not. That will not be possible because it's UV cancer can be caused by any other thing as well. It need not be necessarily caused by UV radiation cancer, but UV giving cancer is a thing, but cancer being caused only by UV is not a thing, according to logic. That's, therefore, your yeah, there is a very large amount of ultraviolet radiation on the surface, won't be a logical answer for this one. So you'll be negating this option. And in the consider statements 2 and 3, if there is a hole in the ozone layer, large amount of UV radiation will reach Earth's surface, and ultraviolet radiation causes cancer. So a probable conclusion of statement 2 and 3 would be that if there is a hole in the ozone layer, a hole in the ozone layer causes cancer. That would be a probable conclusion of your statements 2 and 3. And compare the conclusion of statements 2 and 3 with the premise. Hole in the ozone layer causing cancer, incidence of cancer has increased. Once again, applying the same kind of logic from the first option as well, you can't say that there is necessarily cancer has increased necessarily because there is a hole in the ozone layer. So you negate out option 2 as well. And
Right, right.
yeah, same goes for option 1 as well. So combine all the three statements together and get a get the ultimate conclusion. So ultimate conclusion would be, if the concentration of CFCs in the air increases the threshold, it will cause cancer. The intermediary factors will be, there will be a lot of intermediary factors. So CFC is causing ozone layer hole, ozone layer causing UV radiation, and then UV radiation causing cancer. But it will be eventually the conclusion from all the three statements will be like, if the CFCs in the air increases, it causes cancer. But the incidence of cancer increasing does not necessarily mean that there is a increase in the CFCs as well. So logically, you can't prove that all these three answers are correct because incidence of cancer has increased. So the only since all the three options are invalid, then none of the above is the answer.
Can we say that this having cancer is one of the general statement, and this all these conclusions, no, statement 1, 2, 3, those were
Okay.
very particular with respect to the CFC and the ozone layer.
Okay.
So when we are talking about the very general cancer, so we may not be correct. We are talking only about specifics here, and that's why none of the above applies.
Yes, yes, yes. If the premise says that incidence of cancer has not increased, then maybe you can say that
Okay,
CFCs
there
are
is a
not.
question next, probably a question coming up.
Yes,
That
yes. I
would
think
be
I
like
think
that.
I think one
Yeah,
of the fourth or fifth question will be the same pattern as well.
yeah.
Sir, may I have some view on this question, sir?
Sure, sure, sure.
Sir, according to the information given to us in these
Okay,
questions,
okay.
if we are not talking about the other causes or other regions for the cancers, so according to this information given, I think the base region is there is an increase in CFC in the air
Yes,
beyond the threshold, because it is the base conditions. It is creating the hole in the ozone layer, and ozone layer increasing the ultraviolet radiations,
yes,
and it is causing the cancer. So
yes.
according to these informations, I think the first options can be the correct answer, sir.
No, that's what. So, okay, you are
Because
saying.
here they have not given the any general aspect, sir.
No, that's what I'm saying. So
Hmm.
you're saying that CFCs are a base reason. Correct, exactly correct. So form a meaningful let's try forming a meaningful conclusion from statements 1, 2, and 3. So I'll just type in the chat box this conclusion as well. So the conclusion will be, if the concentration of CFC in the air exceeds a threshold, it causes cancer, or incidence of cancer increases. I have typed the conclusion in the text box of this meeting. So all of you can just check the conclusion. That will be the final conclusion from compiling all the statements 1 to 3. So we have, if A then B, we have a form of, the conclusion form follows a form if A then B. A will be concentration of CFC is increasing, B will
Yes.
be causing cancer. So if A then B, the premise says that statistical survey show that incidence of cancer has increased. So if A then B, now B is there, then it necessarily does not mean that A is there, because that's not a logical conclusion. Because ultimately cancer can, if you say that B is there, then cancer can be caused by any other things as well. The fact that it can be caused by CFCs is a valid reasoning, but it's not like it's not only caused by CFC increase. That's why logically the first option cannot be correct as well.
Sir, what about the third option, sir? This is directly related to the cause of cancer, sir.
Same, no, no, third option also same. Like, see, instead of this conclusion, just take statement 3 as a conclusion and then consider this premise. UV causes cancer, A causes B, we have B. Once again, it necessarily does not mean that it is caused because of A.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes. So,
Mm.
according to this, yeah, UV can also cause. So, if you take this premise, you can say that UV can also cause cancer, but UV alone does not cause cancer. That's what you cannot say using this premise and this statement. That's why this all these three options cannot be correct, because all these three options kind of says that you're trying to backtrack the statement 3.
Back, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Backtrack.
Yeah, and that cannot be possible in logical reasoning.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll move to the fourth question. Same exact three statements, but only the premise has changed. A statistical survey showed that the incidence of cancer has not increased. Exact the premise is like exactly opposite of the third question. Here it's cancer has increased. Here cancer has not increased. And here the kind of answer is almost easy, because um, so cancer is increased, there is increase in CFC. Practically itself it does not apply, that it does not, it is not valid. There is a very high amount of UV radiation, once again practically not valid. But look at the second option, there is no. Mayuresh Shete is saying I have chosen the same answer but it's shown incorrect.
Yeah, the assignment is showing that answer. There is no hole in the ozone layer. That's the correct answer as per the submission, that
Yeah,
as per the assessment.
yes.
But I have chosen option number D, none of the above.
Oh, okay, okay. Actually, B is the correct answer, because
Yeah, but okay, but as per the NPTEL site, they have shown option number B as the correct answer.
oh, okay.
Yes, sir. They have shown the B as a correct answer.
For question 3 or for question 4?
Four,
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 four.
four, sir.
Yeah, question 4 option B is only correct answer, na? There is no hole in the ozone layer.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. It's not none of the above.
No,
Okay,
no, see,
okay.
that's what. See, statement 3 says that A causes B. Your premise says that not B. So, not A is the correct answer. So, there is no ozone layer. So, sorry, statements 2 and 3, sorry. You have to combine statements 2 and 3 and say that there will be a conclusion from statements 2 and 3 that if there is a hole in the ozone layer, it causes cancer. A causing B, and in the premise we have not B, so not A would be the correct answer. So there is no hole in the ozone layer would be the correct answer. This is modus tolerance. I hope it's clear to Mayuresh and Gupta. B is the correct option because of direct modus tolerance.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Right, sir. Thank you.
cool. I'll move on to the fifth question. Once again, same like exact three statements given, but the premise is changing this time, which says that a measurement showed that the amount of UV radiation reaching Earth's surface has increased. So, yeah, UV radiation reaching Earth's surface has increased. So, oh yeah, so yeah, this question is just modus ponens. So UV causes cancer, UV is there, so cancer can also increase. So this is the modus ponens. The others are trying to give modus tolerance, which will not be applicable, because it is not giving not B, it is giving B. The incidence of cancer has increased and there is an increase in CFC in the air beyond the threshold. And moving on to the sixth question, so they are given two statements. Some particles have half integer spin, and no particle with a half integer spin is a.
Sorry for the disturbance. Sorry
Yeah,
for the
sure.
disturbance. Can you go back? Yeah, actually, why not? Why not in this question number 5? The answer can be serial number B.
All of the above.
Yes. No, 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 no. The serial that is B. There is a hole in the ozone layer.
Wait.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Oh, option.
like
Oh, you're asking. Oh, option is A.
yeah,
Correct option is
yeah,
A. You're
yeah.
saying.
Correct option is A. I was just thinking in the statement two. Statement two itself is having if and then, right? If this happens,
Yeah.
that
If.
happens.
Yeah, yeah. It's having if then, but if A then B. So
Yeah.
A is whole in
So
ozone.
that
Sorry.
yeah. So
If
that means the right side is correct means the left side is a cause. No, that also is it not correct?
no, that is not the correct form of modest tolerance, right? Modest tolerance is it must either
Yeah.
follow modest ponens or modest tolerance. In modest ponens, you will have if A then B, A is happening, then B is happening.
Right.
Because in this case, it's saying B is happening first. Then B can happen because of a lot of factors, among which A is one.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the
Clear.
fact that
Yeah.
A only is the cause in that case is a invalid argument. That's why your hole in the ozone layer or increase in the CFC is a invalid answer. It's a wrong answer.
So just a minute, sir. I have some view about this question, sir. Sir, may I have some views, sir, on this question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sir, in statement number two, if we say there is a hole in ozone layer, if it is say suppose A,
Okay.
and A implies radiation that is B. Now in statement 3, ultraviolet rays cause cancer. So B means ultraviolet rays implies cancer C. So if I am taking both the implication in causal form, not A or B,
Which
and
question are you talking about?
not B or C. So not if I am applying the resolution principle, so not uh, A implies C. A
Uh,
implies C means there is hole in ozone layer implies uh, cancer.
which question are you talking about? This fifth question.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, sir, it's okay. I have got the points. I think I got a little confused about this.
Okay.
Fifth number question, sir. It's
No.
okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. So basically, the points conveyed from questions 2 and 5 involve the usage of modest ponens and modest tolerance using deductive logic. So only two cases are that. Wait once again. I'll just type it in the chat box as well. So modest ponens is that A, if A then B, B this is modest ponens. Modest tolerance if A then B not B then not A. This is modest tolerance. Any other deviation from this kind of logic, deviation from this kind of logic is not a valid answer because if A then if B, if A then B and then B happens, B can happen because of a lot of reasons, out of which A can also be a one thing because, but B does not happen only because of A. That's the whole argument here. That's why B then A cannot be a valid answer. And in the same case, if A then B, not if there is a not A is happening, then not A does not necessarily mean not B, because that can also happen by a lot of reasons as well. That's why the other two cases will not be applicable.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So I'll move on to the next question. Yeah, two statements. Some particles have half integer spin, and no particle with half integer spin is a boson. What conclusions can you draw out of them? So the correct answer would be there are some particles which are not bosons. So this can be answered just using a simple Venn diagram representation. So there are some particles have a half integer spin. Like, let's just take a total of all the particles, and then out of that some particles have half spin, and but no particle with half spin is a boson. So boson will not overlap with half integer spin. So out the correct answer would be there are some particles which are not bosons. So out of all the things, out of all the particles here, everything except this thing are particles as well. So there are particles which are not bosons as well. All the other answers will not be applicable because some bosons are not particles. No, all the bosons are particles. And yeah, so I'll move on to the question number 7. Question number 7 says that premises all whales are mammals and some mammals are carnivores. So they are asking, giving us 4 options. It's a multiple select question, and then they are asking us to draw a conclusion of that. So obvious answers would be some carnivores are mammals and some mammals are whales. This you can arrive by a simple Venn diagram representation, and this carnivores are mammals. Yeah, some mammals are whales cannot be a representation because of the representation all whales are mammals, and some carnivores are mammals cannot also be um, arrived because of it doesn't follow modus ponens and modus tollens. And in statement 2, so there are 3 statements. A true conclusion can be derived from false premises. Statement 2 is saying a false conclusion cannot be derived from true premises. And statement 3 is saying the conclusion is true. And this one you can this is just logically valid that all the premises may or may not be true. This I think we also discussed in some of the lectures. And in question number 9, which of the following, according to Aristotle, is not a type of structure a syllogistic argument may have? So, Aristotle's syllogistic arguments consist of every A is B, some A is B, no A is B, and some A are not B. So, the only option which doesn't fit the syllogistic argument is no A is no B. So, no A is no B is the correct answer. And in the last question, when Edwin Hubble used Cepheid variables to find the distance to the Andromeda galaxy, he was using. So, even in the last week, I told people that I have some discrepancy saying that it could be answer is either inductive logic or both inductive and deductive logic. But apparently the answer ended up being apparently in NPTEL the answer ended up being both inductive and deductive logic, because the Hubble used both general to particular and particular to general at different points of the time. He used general to particular to find Cepheid variables to use the Cepheid variables of each star, and then he used the particular to general to make a general assumption about the whole Andromeda galaxy. So that's why it's both inductive and deductive.
Right, sir. Right.
Okay. So that's all about uh, assignment of week number 2 as well. So I think we have 5-10 minutes before we close the session for this day. So I'll just open this session for doubts. If any of you have any doubts, you are free to shoot them. And if not, we will wait till 5:05. Else we will close the session.
Thank you, Arjun, for the very informative and very interactive session.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. Just one question, one query I had
Yeah,
regarding the exam. Uh,
sure.
whether the exam also will have like
Mayurish,
there are a
just
lot of factual.
Mayurish, just one second. I'm getting a lot of disturbance from other people. Just a minute.
Yeah,
Yes, now you can speak,
yeah.
Mayurish.
So the assignment questions, there are some logical questions, there are some factual questions,
Yes.
and factual questions requires certain kind of remembering, for
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
exam.
Uh,
Just
I
wanted to ask,
I
like,
can get the question you're asking. Trying like me,
yeah,
many people have been asking me for 3 weeks whether the factual questions will be coming for the exam. I don't think
yeah,
so because this assignment questions you can always um, skim through material and then find answers and then tick the correct options because there's no time limit for assignments as well except for a
right.
deadline. So I think these factual questions are there because you can skim through material and do it. But in exam, I don't think you will be having these kind of questions. Two main reasons. One reason is that it's not good enough for people to expect people to remember stuff. Another reason is that this is just 3 weeks, so there are 12 weeks in total, and you will be having a lot of other uh, content which in where you have to where we have to analytically think and then write the answer. Like week 2 was one such week in which we like all of you I think had to apply your mind a lot to answer questions rather than having to answer factual questions. Week 1 and week 3 were more factual since it was the introduction week and week 3 was more of history. So that won't be the case in most of the weeks. So in the exam, you'll be having a comprehensive stuff of all the weeks lectures. So I don't think you will be having a lot of factual questions as well.
Yeah, thank you, Arjun.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, Arjun sir,
Yeah, sure.
for your patience, and we have taken a lot of time for
No, no, no. It's
this
all like
session.
the session is for 2 hours, so I think
But mostly times we have taken, sir.
yeah, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Like if even for others and even for everyone who have asked questions, if you have any other questions, I think you can approach me through my mail that I have given in the start of the lecture, or you could go to the Google Groups discussion forum in the available through the NPTEL channel, and then there you can ask questions. Me or the other TA, Uditya Saha, both of us can answer the question. If the question is very advanced, maybe the professor himself can answer. And if you have any other NPTEL based doubts, you can directly ask the NPTEL team and maybe they can answer. I'll open the doubt session for. Okay, so please share your mail 1 second. So I'll just type it in the chat box. Yes, it's arjunsv@iisc.ac.in. Yes, I'll keep the session open for 3 more minutes till 5:05. Then I think we can wrap up the session.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Sure, sure, sure.
Will you discuss all these assignment before the submission date? Means,
Uh,
suppose you have discussed third assignment,
yes.
and it is due date is 14th.
Okay.
So it will be for all assignment.
I
Same
mean,
thing.
yeah. So the thing is, that's what I said about at the start of the session. Like all, this is not the key that NPTEL has for the assignments. This is the answers that I came up by myself, like through discussion and stuff. So some of it might be wrong as well. Like last time, the 10th question, it was not like even we had a very skeptical answer, so it didn't end up being right. So this is just a discussion of the answers for the questions. Sometimes, very rarely, it might end up being wrong as well. But this is just to clarify everyone of what how they should think before attempting an answer, because I think many people in this week 2 as well, they had doubts, they had difficulty understanding modus ponens and modus tollens. So
Yes.
this TS session is just to give them a clarity on how to try to answer those questions.
Well, but such a kind of doubt sessions we will conduct for each and every assignment
Yes,
before
yes.
submission.
Not every assignment per se. So every week's lectures we will be having this kind of TS session. You will be getting
Right.
this intimation through NPTEL team itself. For me, it will be every Saturday 3 to 5.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Arjun, I have taken a few parallel courses also
Yes.
for my college per se, and
Okay.
all those four lectures, all those four subjects are having exactly same 3 to 5 time Saturday.
Oh my God.
So maybe the case with many other people also. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
I actually, this is also one common
I
doubt that
tried
I'm
to
having.
keep I tried to keep four browsers open, but it was very difficult,
Yes,
and
yes,
it was not possible.
I understand. So
Yeah,
one suggestion that I would give is, uh, not every course has only one TA.
yeah.
All the courses have multiple TAs. So it's best that you try to attempt TA sessions which are differing in time.
No, there is nothing like that. It's all between 3 to 5.
There is no second TA as well.
No,
No, no. I'm pretty sure at least some courses will have two TAs where they will be. Even for this course, I have, like, there is another TA who will be.
that's on Tuesday, right? For
Yes,
okay,
yes, that's
yeah,
on
okay,
Tuesday.
okay,
So
okay,
maybe you can shift this course's TA session to Tuesday instead of Saturday. Just
okay. And we will not be having any recorded lectures, right? Recorded video sessions.
no, no. You'll be having a recording. So I'm recording this lecture right now, and
Oh, super. So will it be added in the NPTEL?
yes, yes, yes. So in
Oh,
NPTEL,
that's
you'll be
fine.
after the week 12 lectures, like there will be a column called problem solving sessions. So if you try to access that Excel sheet, you will be having my first and second week recording as well, along with the second TA's YouTube sessions and presentations.
Great, I got it. I have seen just now.
Yes,
First,
yes.
yeah.
So
Thank
you
you.
could go there and access it. Like same goes for other courses as well. If you don't have any time, if you don't have any time, or if you have any time constraints, you could always feel free to go back to those videos and save your doubts for the next session, or put those doubts up in the Google Groups discussion forum. That's why, like, we have so many platforms for answering doubts and clarifying doubts. Yes. Okay, then if there are no more doubts for today, I sincerely thank you all for attending this TA session and keeping it interesting till for 2 hours. And I'll see you again next week, exact Saturday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And you will be getting the notification through your Google Groups or NPTEL platform. If you have any doubts, once again, feel free to post it up in the Google Groups discussion forum, or mail me if possible. And that's all from my side. I'll see you in the next week. Thank you.